What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Student Hines Show. Today is April 22nd, 2021, and this video I am live on YouTube like every single video I do, and I'm going to be continuing my series of doing a serum mock draft for each NFL team post-free agency. I recently got done doing one of the LA Chargers, so today's is the Minnesota Vikings. So we'll go ahead and get started here. The Minnesota Vikings picked 14th overall. It'll be really interesting to see what they do at 14. To me, I think the Vikings and the Patriots are the two most intriguing teams at what they may do. Lots of people might think they go guard or edge rusher. I personally believe they'll take one of the two. Maybe one they don't take in round one, they'll take in round three. So with their 14th pick overall, I have them taking Michigan edge rusher Kwity Paye. You got Mike Zimmer, defensive-minded coach, and their defense was atrocious last season. I really do not think that he's going to let their defense be that bad once again. Kwity Paye, I think he's a better fit than Azeez Ojulari from Georgia, even though I prefer Ojulari over Kwity Paye. I think he's a great fit to their defensive line. It's going to be a big piece of their future. So I really like the Kwity Paye pick here in round one. They actually don't have a second-round pick, but with their third-round pick, I had them selecting Georgia guard Ben Cleveland. If this were to happen, I think that'd be pretty successful with the first two picks for the Minnesota Vikings. Let's say if you don't take an edge in round one, maybe you take Elijah Vera-Tucker. Some people may say that's a little bit of a reach. I really don't think so. Then round three, you could take an edge. But either way, I think the first two picks are either going to be an offensive lineman or an edge for the Vikings. But just a matter of which one they prefer more. Ben Cleveland's going up some draft boards quite a bit, so he may not end up being here. Also, something to look into. All these mock drafts to do are from ProFootballNetwork.com. They're a mock draft simulator, so I cannot determine what players fall or reach or anything like that. They actually have two third-round picks. With their second third-round pick, I have them selecting Northern Iowa offensive tackle Spencer Brown. So far, this is a very nice draft for the Minnesota Vikings. They can use guard and tackle, but they need guard more than tackle. Spencer Brown might not be here, but if he is, I think you got to take him. He's probably going to be the best player available right here. So that's a great pick for Minnesota there. They actually have four fourth-round picks. With their first fourth-round pick, they select Syracuse corner True Williams. True Williams is one of my favorite corners in the draft. He's a insanely good tackler for a corner. Most corners, they don't even try to tackle, it seems like, anymore. He's a really big hitter for a corner. They did re-sign Mackenzie Alexander. He left last season to the Cincinnati Bengals, but they re-signed him this year. But they still need lots of corner help. The Vikings do. So I think that makes quite a bit of sense if they get a corner. They might even take one early, maybe in round three. Depending who's available. Tyson Campbell from Georgia's there. I think that'd be pretty smart as well. But with their second, fourth-round pick, they select Texas safety Caden Stearns. They have tons of issues on defense. They could really use help at edge rusher and then corner and safety as well. Caden Stearns is one of the better safeties available. I think this pick would be really smart and just kind of continuing a defensive-minded draft with Mike Zimmer because their defense will be much improved compared to last season, and he could maybe be even on the hot seat. This might be his final year with Minnesota, depending, if they don't go to the playoffs or not 500 or anything like that. But with their third, fourth-round pick, I have him selecting defensive tackle Marvin Wilson from Florida State. I think this is another really, really nice pick. It's one of the better players available. It may not be a team need, but I think, when it comes to the later round picks, I think it's always best to do best player available instead of team need, because if you go team need, some of those players might not end up making the team. But I really like this pick here. I think Marvin Wilson will be a really nice player in the NFL. I like him, Darius Stills, West Virginia, and Jalen Tallman from Pittsburgh quite a bit. Any of those three defense tackles, maybe around these picks from Minnesota, I think is a fantastic pick. With their final fourth-round pick, their fourth-round pick, they take another edge rusher and Penn State edge rusher Shaka Toney with the 143rd pick overall. I think this is an amazing pick here. It's really, really smart. Kind of attacking your team need, but it's also kind of one of the better players available. anytime you do that, that's always awesome to do because, I mean, it really helps your team. Check out Tony. I think he'll be really nice. I think he'll be a solid player in the NFL. So going to the 5th round, they have 2 5th-round picks. With their first 5th-round pick, they take wide receiver Daz Newsome. I like this pick quite a bit. They have Justin Jefferson, who was absolutely phenomenal last season. They have Adam Thielen, but he's kind of getting up there in age. I think they should get maybe that third wide receiver. If you get Daz Newsome with Thielen and Justin Jefferson, that's easily a top 10 wide receiver. Close to a top 10 wide receiver trio. I mean, Daz Newsome's okay, but Jefferson and Adam Thielen, I mean, those are 2 star wide receivers. I think they can use a little help there. And I think that'd be pretty smart to get a wide receiver in the later rounds. Maybe Trevon Grimes from Florida, Jonathan Adams Jr. from Arkansas State. There's lots of really good wide receivers in the later rounds of this draft. Like I said, they actually have 2 5th-round picks, and with their second 5th-round pick, I have them selecting corner Kerry Vincent Jr. from LSU, getting another corner here. I think it's really smart. Kind of goes back to what I said. I think this is going to be mainly defensive-minded, defensive picks here in this draft because there's no chance and there's no way Zimmer is content with having that defense like he had last season. Vincent's a pretty underrated corner. I'd like this pick quite a bit. It's getting you more depth to your corner position, which you desperately need. I think this will work out for both sides here. I think that's a pretty nice pick. They have 1 6th-round pick, but do not have a 7th-round pick. And with their 6th-round pick, their last pick of the draft, I have them selecting safety Christian Uphoff. I like this pick quite a bit here. I think he's extremely underrated. I think he's going to be one of the more underrated players in the draft. You look at, for instance, Lenore Ryan safety last year, Kyle Duggar. He was a 2nd-round pick from the Patriots, and Christian Uphoff, playing in the same conference as him when he played in college. I think he's extremely underrated. It kind of goes back to more depth at safety. If it doesn't work out, it's not like it's an early pick. I mean, which honestly, I think it might end up working out. I think he's really going to be really, really good depending where he goes. So getting Christian Uphoff in the 6th round. So it's kind of the Minnesota Vikings post-free agency 7th-round mock draft. I'll go these picks one more time. In the 1st round, Kwity Paye. In the 3rd round, Ben Cleveland, also in the 3rd round. Offensive tackle Spencer Brown. They have 4 4th-round picks. So with the 4th-round picks, they select corner Trill Williams, safety Caden Stearns, defense tackle Marvin Wilson, edge rusher Shaka Toney. And then the 5th round, they take wide receiver Daz Newsome, corner Kerry Vincent Jr. from LSU. And the last pick of the draft, they take safety Christian Uphoff. Thank you all so much for listening. If you like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you next time on the Sports Dude Hines Show.